Hello. It's a French festival celebrating American film, but this year the Hollywood stars who normally grace the Deauville American Film Festival are mostly absent. They're unable to travel because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So there's more focus on homegrown French talent. Our film critic Lisa Nesselson has been attending the event since 1994. She joins us from the seaside town of Normandy now. Hello, Lisa. Now, along with Venice, Deauville is one of the first international film festivals to take place since the pandemic. Venice definitely had an odd feel to it. What's it like there?
Well, it did feel very odd at first, but, you know, people adapt, and very quickly it just came to seem like what it is, which is an extremely well-programmed and pleasant international caliber event with very strict hygiene rules. I have to say, this is one of the world's great auditoriums in which to see a film. It holds 1,500 ordinarily. We're only doing half that, 750, and it is full at every single screening. They are even turning people away. This is a state-of-the-art facility for an event, and world leaders have been here, and I like to amuse myself with the thought that sometimes I'm standing in a spot where Barack Obama may have stood. About 2 blocks that away is the spot where Coco Chanel opened her very first fashion boutique back in 1913, and with everyone required to wear a mask, I can't help thinking that maybe Miss Chanel would have come up with some pretty fetching masks. That said, France 24 had the chance to talk to some people around and about here in Deauville, and here's what they had to say.
L'ouverture pour voir un petit peu des artistes. Ça nous met un petit peu de gaieté, ça nous met un petit peu de... Puis j'espère qu'ils ne seront pas masqués.
J'espérais avoir une dédicace et puis une photo, mais bon, avec le masque, forcément, ça va pas être facile.
À partir du moment où on prend toutes les précautions nécessaires, ça peut se passer correctement, je pense.
Automatiquement, les masques, le gel, oui, bien sûr.
Il faudra s'y habituer pendant quelques années encore, donc faire avec.
The festival isn't entirely absent of VIPs from across the Atlantic. Some have been appearing via video messages, including Michael Douglas, whose father Kirk Douglas was honoured with a special tribute. And one of the few Americans to appear in person is the director Jonathan Nossiter, whose film is screening in competition, Lisa.
Yes, it's called Last Words, and it's about, the end of the world. I mean, really the end of the world, set in 2086. Jonathan hasn't made a film for 6 years, and he's actually an American, but he's a farmer, an organic farmer in Italy. So he was able to come and host a panel of world-class specialists in what awaits us in terms of the food supply and human fertility and all that stuff that can lead to the end of the world. I was astonished to learn from them that an average apple in 1950, you would have to eat 100 apples in 2020 to get the same amount of nutrition. That aside, because the Cannes Film Festival, as you know, is canceled in May, the Deauville Film Festival is welcoming 9 movies that would have had their world premiere in Cannes. And Cannes Festival director Thierry Frémaux was here the first weekend to give them all a proper, thoughtful introduction.
And you've seen something like 16 movies so far. Any favourites?
Oh, I have quite a few favorites, but the 2 that stand out for me most happen to be 2 documentaries. And astonishingly, they are both based on audio cassettes from the 60s and 70s that nobody has listened to for the most part since then. One is called Kubrick by Kubrick. France's leading and most important French film critic, Michel Simon, interviewed Stanley Kubrick 4 times. Kubrick made 13 films before his death in 1999 at age 70. Michel interviewed him 4 times. Kubrick only gave 40 interviews in his entire life. As you know, that's the number that most film directors give for each film now. So that's an astonishingly well put together documentary. And then Billy, about Billie Holiday, which is based on about 200 hours of audio cassettes that were recorded by an American journalist who happened to be white, who happened to be Jewish, but was obsessed with telling the story of Billie Holiday, of Lady Day, the most extraordinary jazz singer America ever produced. And the director of that film is a white male. And I just want to point out that sometimes people can get out of their comfort zone and bring us stories about incredibly important talent.
Well, here's a glimpse of both of these 20th century originals, Stanley Kubrick and Billie Holiday.
A good story that you can make in a film is a miracle. And, you know, it's very hard to work miracles.
And if Stanley trusts you, if he trusts you, you're all right. If he doesn't, beware.
We did 105 takes on this thing, and take 2 was perfect.
Strange fruit, here is a strange.
Billie Holiday sang Only Truth.
And bitter.
She knew nothing else. And it's just too bad that it took all this time for all of this to come up.
Some really fabulous footage there. Well, the screenwriter and director Alan Ball's second film is in competition. We know him for writing the screenplay for American Beauty and creating the HBO series 6 Feet Under and True Blood. Tell us about Uncle Frank, starring Paul Bettany.
He was 33, decided to go from the East Coast back to the Deep South to tell his mother he was gay. And after she sort of freaked out, according to him, she said, you know, you had an older relative you never met, and I think he might have been like that. So he ran with that idea to tell the story of a very bright teenage girl from a Southern family who gets accepted to a university in New York City where her Uncle Frank teaches. And she finds out that Uncle Frank, who's a literature professor, happens to live with another man and has for about 10 years. Now, this is set in the late 60s, early 1970s in the U.S. when, of course, acceptance of gays and lesbians was on the uptick, but it was far, far, far from universally accepted.
Well, let's take a look. This is from Uncle Frank.
Are you going to be the person you decide to be? Or are you going to be the person everyone else tells you are? Because you get to choose. You do.
I wish I wasn't named Betty. It's a lady name, I'm only 14.
So change it.
Can't just change my name.
Do anything you want. What about Liz?
Ugh.
No? Liza? Betsy?
And 8 of the 15 films in competition were directed by women. Well done, Deauville.
Well, Deauville didn't wait for it to be trendy to spotlight women. They have always represented work by women. And Eleanor Coppola is in competition here with Love is Love is Love. And she likes to point out that in 2016, when she made her fiction debut with Paris Can Wait, at age 80, she was the oldest woman ever to direct a movie. Now she's back with Love is Love is Love, which is 3 stories about women of a certain age and men of a certain age, and how romance is altered with the passing of time. I liked it very much.
And 84-year-old Eleanor Coppola also happens to be the wife of legendary director Francis Ford Coppola and the mother of Sophia. France 24 presenter Jeannie Godula spoke to Eleanor via Instagram from the festival.
Introducing my grandmommy, Eleanor Coppola.
Hi, I'm the director and co-writer of the movie Love is Love is Love. I came to France in the late 50s and early 60s and as a student, and it just seemed so exciting and interesting, and I love food, so I'm a big foodie. And I worked on behind the scenes on Marie Antoinette with Sophia, and just the whole experience, the beauty, the fabrics, the flowers, the food, the history. I'm just a Francophile, I guess.
Eleanor Coppola speaking to Jeannie Godula at Deauville. Now, Lisa, are there any other films directed by women to look out for?
Quite a few, but one I'd like to spotlight is called Slalom. It's a first French film by a very talented young woman named Charline Favier, who won the Prix Donnano Valenti, which goes to a first-time French film and is shown to the audience here and then introduced to the studios in the U.S. So it's a wonderful prize. This is a story of a 16-year-old skier in a residential skiing program hoping to make it to the Olympics, and the incredibly close, possibly inappropriate relationship that blossoms with her coach, brilliantly played by Jeremy Renier.
And a French film called Teddy had its world premiere in Deauville instead of Cannes. What's it like?
It's kind of off-kilter in a very good way. Talented twin brothers Ludovic and Zoran Bukema are as interested in small-town France as I'd say David Lynch has been interested in small-town America. It's the story of 19-year-old Masseur Teddy, played by the very talented Anthony Bajon. He gets scratched by a critter in the woods and starts sprouting hair in really inconvenient spots like his eyeball and his tongue. He may be becoming a werewolf.
Okay, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the festival. And that's all from us for now. We'll leave you with the French film Teddy from the brothers Ludovic and Zoran Bukema. Thanks for joining us. Remember our website. We're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
T'avais fumé un peu, Camille?
Non.
Non?
Non.
T'es sûr?
On a pris des champis avec ma copine, mais on en prend souvent.
M'étonne pas que tu aies eu des poils sur la langue et que tu les as rasés. Si tu te mets à hurler à la lune ou à te transformer en loup-garou, tu pourras revenir me voir.
C'est drôle, ça.
Mais non, je plaisante. On est médecin, mais on a de l'humour quand même.
Fake news. Noun. False stories that appear to be news, spread on the internet or using other media. At France 24, our job is to provide you with information that's been verified. We check sources, we check facts, we sort what is true from what is fake.
At the France 24 Observers, we verify photos and videos circulating online. If they're fake, we let you know and tell you how we spotted them.
In Fact or Fake, we dig into viral stories around Europe to shake out the truth from the trash.
Every day, the Info Migrants team scours social networks to fight fake news about the reality of migration.
France 24. News based on facts.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.